Hey, yo guys, what's good? This is Toxic Gaming, and today we're gonna be doing my license is on submission for BFBB any percent. So this game's playable on PS2, Xbox, and GameCube, as well as any backwards compatible systems. So time starts when we click no on this text box. Game starts off pretty simple. We just collect 50 shinies. We just go around the house. And we get a free spat for it. So the first big trick coming up is going to be hand disable. If you've ever seen this game, you've probably seen a version of this. We do it a little differently now. What we do is like we enter the taxi pad, then leave it while in a slam animation. And that allows us to store the taxi pad warp so we can get grabbed into it and disable the hand. It saves like 5 seconds now or something? I don't know. Something close to that. So we get grabbed and we can basically go anywhere out of bounds now. A few exceptions to things that can get the hand re-enabled, but we can go basically anywhere we want. And that's abused right here whenever we collect the Cowabungie spatula. We want to get some shinies. Keep in mind we probably want to have 49 here, I think is the ideal number, but having below that's not bad. We skip a spat animation by respawning, and we're back where the Cowabungie spat was. Basically there's like a bungee that you go down, and now we can hit this button. A big concept in this game is the damage system. We're gonna look to abuse it as much as possible. So it starts here with this first trick called hammer skip, and then we do Pat's hammer. There's multiple instances of it throughout early and mid game that you're gonna see. So with this one, we just wanted to get into a checkpoint so we can respawn on top of the hill. Basically, we don't have to walk around the entire area to get up here. And yeah, we're on to another spat. This next area is Dilemma. We're going to do Pat's Hammer, which we basically skip having to hit buttons and destroy robots. Saves us a good chunk of time. Which we abuse the system here, but differently with a bash. I believe there's 3 versions of this in the run, maybe 4. But we want to just get some shinies and a sock on the way. Hopefully I don't mess this up. This is the bad animation for damage because there's like an animation that's 3 frames slower, and these tricks are already somewhat precise as is, so you can see I messed it up. We just go again. Talk to Patrick, because there's like a trigger below him for some reason. And now we can go back to Bikini Bottom. We make a big point to avoid Mr. Krabs for later, and we're climbing Squidward's house with some parkour. So if you like Minecraft parkour, this is probably your favorite part of the game. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come up here and we're going to skip an animation. Usually you have to sit through like a long cutscene. You can see the black bars that just got moved away. We were already like on the taxi when they started going away. We get the stack for shinies and then we're on the Tiki's Go Boom. There's some RNG that can lose like 5 seconds. It's not too worrisome, but we basically have to destroy all 4 stacks. And we have this cannon here to help us. You can see right here, I believe we got it. Yeah, we got it. Nice.
You've just met the Sponginator.
So now we slam the buttons, and then we rewarp because we need shinies. We look like we're on a good track for shinies. I try to get above like 1290, and we're way above that. I'm gonna destroy this. Come up here and get the spat. And then we have some more shinies that are coming up we want to destroy. We're gonna get a sock. And we're on our way to the next big trick. Basically, we can store our sponge ball on top of a tiki that rises. And that allows us to, like, get momentum over a warp. And we can fly into the air in the hub world. Pretty neat. But we want to get some more shinies. This first part's one frame. So we're storing the sponge ball to get on top of the tiki. And then we store the height on top of that thunder tiki. And then we can come over here and press A at a specific time and we fly into the air. And now we go on top of Shady Shoals. Usually we do like a puzzle in mid-game, but we completely avoid that. And now we come down here, get more shinies. We want to have 2350 out of the tree dome at least. If we have more than that, no problem. But definitely at least 2350. Or else we're low. This part can also have RNG. It can kind of be annoying sometimes, but we got okay RNG, I think. Yeah, we got okay RNG. All the 4 bots just wanted to like crowd around me, but it's fine. So you can see we're almost 100 shinies up, so we're doing really good. Next we're going to go on to Rollbuck. Basically we can get enough speed to go up a wall and get to Hub 3, which usually you have to fight Robo Patrick in this 40 spatula gate here. But we can just roll up a wall and get on top of the chum bucket. Next we go inside the chum bucket and we basically just bash on an air vent. It's a very Among Us sussy move to just jump on the air vent like this. Because we're venting. I got a really big jump there for some reason, but... Next we have to go save the civilians in the Krusty Krab because they're apparently being destroyed by robots. And this is where we need to have 3,000 shinies. Once we finish this area, we want to be at least at 3,000, which we should easily get to. Yeah, easily 3,000. And we want to jump on top of the spat and talk to crabs. And we can skip a spat animation, saving like 6 seconds roughly. And then right after we do the dupe, we talk to crabs, and we basically get 9 crab spatulas. You're only supposed to be able to get 8, but because we abuse the system. I had to do an extra jump there, no worries, all good. Get the sock, and now we're gonna go on to oil skip. This is another abuse of the damage system. It's kind of like Pat's hammer, the trick we did earlier. If we have a good animation, awesome. If we have a bad one, oh well, which we're on the bad one again, so we might miss this. Nope, we got it. Alright, so now we can go on to get the second spat, and then we're gonna go on to Poseidon. I do my manips kind of weird. Everyone kind of tells me that all the time. I don't really care, but basically, we just want to manip Sandy to go on to the sidelines as fast as possible. Because it's possible to lose like 10 seconds or something, because she can walk, but phase 1 simple. When she slams, we just go to the middle. And then she like does the big slam and then we slam. That's 1. There's 9 hits. This is one of the slowest sections of the run, but honestly, like with the manips and like trying to analyze it all, it can be pretty interesting.
Taking a beating out there.
So I'm eyeing to have King Neptune and the fish on the screen at the end of phase 1.
The robot better change
Just like
tactics
this.
and fast.
And then when she slams, we're gonna move to the underwear, and then we're gonna move to the pole next to us. And we do that 6 times. The first 3 times, she's gonna slam, we're gonna pick her head up and throw it at the billboard thing. The last 3 times, we're just gonna slam her head back into place.
The robot's losing its head. What a shocking takedown by Patrick.
This would be a good time for me to mention SBA. So coming up is Goo Lagoon. There's gonna be SBA. We're gonna be doing 2 Tiki. There's also a 1 Tiki method that's way more inconsistent and also saves time, but that's besides the point. Basically, we get unlimited shinies, and we get that 1 free crab spat in early game. We get the 8 right after Goo Lagoon.
Thing move by Patrick.
And basically, we just, like, a ball goes in between 2 Tikis and goes in and out of a trigger for the skee ball machine 30. So just a headphone warning when we get to the pier, because it does get pretty loud. But yeah, very funny in E5. Thanks for good luck.
Wow, I've never seen
We're on
such an
the phase 3 of the
electrifying
fight. So almost done. We're on the back end of it. She's just gonna do the same thing again.
The old
I like to
clothesline
bash
move.
here. You don't have to, but I just like to do it. And move up, slam, bash.
Whoa, what an opening for a guy literally filled with openings. Oh, what an uppercut.
This is like the last thing I learned from the beginner tutorial, and the only reason my manips are different is because I learned it wrong, kinda. I was too lazy to watch the tutorial and just learned it wrong, so. As far as I know, it doesn't lose much time, if any, the way I do it,
Just about over.
but that's why my manips are terribly different than everyone else's. Finishing up Robo Sandy, and we're gonna go to the beach. So the first thing we're gonna do when we get there is we're gonna try and get the skip. We bowl into the taxi pad, and if we can get past the area and not be too far forward like I was, then we can usually skip it. Which also, by defeating Robo Sandy, we unlock the bowl. And this helps us out a lot in this next area. That's why skee ball abuse can be a thing. So we go out of bounds here because there's a cutscene that actually can play if you don't do that. Saves 5 seconds, something like that. I'm not sure. I take damage here because there's something called Fat Guy Skip that you can theoretically get. Saves 1 second. But it's like a 1 frame with a very specific setup, so. This is Early Towers Glide. Basically, you just slam onto the post, and we get to fly over here. You have very limited control while on the slam, unless you have a cruise boost. But all good, because we're done with it. Now we get to abuse the damage system again to get over here, and we're on to SBA. Patrick can pick up things and throw them. That's a big system that we're going to be using here. And we're basically just going to be juggling 2 tikis to the skee ball machine, throwing them in, and getting unlimited shinies. Yes, you can get up to the max. But we really only want to get about 40,000. That's how much you need to buy all the crab spats and get all the gates we need. Actually, it's 500. How much you need? I'm gonna pick this Tiki up and throw it. Pick this Tiki up. Come over here. Hopefully not hit this kid. That's gonna be like cycling to us. Destroy those robots since they were about to make me take damage. This part's kind of scary. We throw onto the pole or onto like this pole thing. Throw the Tiki over here. Over here. Important not to stack the Tikis again. You can technically do like a 1-frame spin and get the Tikis again, but most of the time that's like a really tough trick, so we're gonna line up, throw the Tiki. That worked. We're on the SBA. That doesn't work. Throw the Tiki out. I'm just gonna rethrow it in. Same thing. Why? Why? What's going on? I can't grab the Tiki. Fine. One more time. Just throw it in. Boom. That time it worked. Now we can come up here. Full headphone warning. I kind of did it too late, but get the point. I don't know if you can hear me, but this is a really good rate for anyone that probably can, whose ears aren't bleeding from the noises. Come up here. Okay, not bad. Okay. On we go. We're gonna have like 60k, by the way. We're way over. And we just warp back here. SBA is over. You can turn your headphones up, whatever you have them down. So now we're gonna skip a cutscene here. Usually you have to watch like the whole pier like fall apart or something. But we can drown. Just skip the cutscene completely. Very cool. Okay. Now we collect the spatula, and then we're gonna do something called moat early. Basically, in moat early, there's a button that's kind of hidden. Usually you have to pay a clam and throw a melon as Patrick, but we can instead just bowl the button, and we can get a spat from it. So if you see the moat appear, then that's good. If you don't see it, then that means I missed it, and I'm gonna go again, so. We have to come over here, bowl right there. That looks really good, actually. It was. You saw the trampoline. Now we get to go in and get the spat from Larry. Boom. Alright, so now we get to buy the 8 crab spats that I was talking about earlier. We just buy them all right now, and then we're gonna go rock bottom.
So
you can't really overlap these animations, kind of unfortunate, but we just buy 8 of them. And each animation is 6 seconds, so it's about 50 seconds. I know 6 times 8 is 48, but with the extra time of like pressing the text boxes and all, probably about 50. When we get to 31, we're gonna go to the sponge ball, and we're gonna go to rock bottom, and we're gonna abuse the damage system some more. There's a trick called bathroom boost, and then there's a trick called sleepy skip, which are very similar to Pat's hammer and oil skip that we did earlier. Basically, we get a sliding bash, which means we can take some damage and fly across areas. And then after we do this bathroom boost here, then we can skip a spat animation by going into it through a load. And then we can do slip sliding away early. Go. Bathroom boost, done. We go into this load, and we immediately just leave. Boom. Now we skip the animation. Yes, we did get the spat. You can look at the spat count. And now we're just gonna do slip sliding. If I can hit the button. Alright, so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna slide down here, and we're gonna take some damage at the end, or try to, and we basically have to get the spat. Now we can just jump off the slide right here. I got the cool damage boost that I was just talking about maybe getting, and we just get a spat. Next is sleepy skip, kind of similar to bathroom boost with how it's set up. We gotta get there first though. So we gotta sneak around because these guys can like wake you, or when they wake you up they do damage. And that's the whole premise that we're abusing when taking damage from them. Now we're gonna come down here, collect a sock. Then we're on the super bounce skip. So basically there's a area called Super Bounce. It's between Sandy's Dream and Squid's Dream out in the distance there. And basically we can jump off the slide not very precisely, but kind of. And we can skip having to buy a clam, having to watch a cutscene, and just immediately take damage on top of Squid's house. Now we're going to enter Squid's Dream, then immediately leave Squid's Dream, and then go into Sandy's Dream. Squid's Dream is going to be done later in the run. Like, way later in the run. But Sandy's Dream we're going to be doing now.
What?
In this one, we don't abuse the damage system. We're trying to get an invisible checkpoint. But the invisible checkpoint barely overlaps where we can go. We have to get into that area, and then we can respawn on top of the acorn. I'll jump around here for just a second. Hopefully we got it. There we go. When we respawn, we're on top of the acorn. Very nice. Now we're gonna go on to Sand Mountain. Not very intensive tricks in this area. We're just gonna be going down Guppy Mound, and we're gonna be collecting the bungee spat here. This spat's very similar to Cowabungy, where you just fall down into a pit. I unfortunately missed a bowl right there. You can bowl and skip the animation again, but I unfortunately missed it. So here we go. I like to bowl this chuck. Other people like to do other things. Bowling the chuck is very consistent. We get the spat. Rewarp. And then we're going to Guppy Mound. This area costs 1,500 shinies to enter. And we basically just go down the slide. It gives us 2 free spats and 3 free socks. So talk to Mrs. Puff. You have to beat her time down the slide, which isn't very tough to do. We don't need shinies this time, but if you were low on shinies, you might need them. But there's the first sock. Come down the slide. Now we're gonna skip a little tiny part of this. It's not really that much to skip, but we can basically just like take a little shortcut. You can do that in Rehydrate as well, which if you don't know, Rehydrate is like the remake of this game. That's one of the few things you can do between both games. Which I think is pretty neat. And it's done exactly the same, I should note. Now we get another sock. And then what we want to do, we're going to try and hit a Thunder Tiki on the other side to destroy a Duplicatotron. This guy's in the way, so we don't get it, unfortunately. I took damage, but fine. Now we have to go over here, destroy this Duplicatotron, while at the same time not getting hit by that guy. And then we can go over here and we can take the spat. And then we go through the box, get another spat, and then we're out of Guppy Mound. Okay, so now we do a pat trade. This is the last spat before Industrial Park. Which, if you don't know, Industrial Park is where we get the cruise bubble, which then leads to some of the parts you've probably heard about this run with cruise boosting. Industrial Park, we're gonna enter into it now. Basically, we just want to like sit in this corner for a while. This is more boring than Poseidon, just letting you know. And it's a bit longer. So basically we just sit here. He cannot hit us. It's impossible for him to hit us. And so we just sit here until he stops spinning, or until he's about to stop spinning, and then we can just bowl into him. We do this 3 times, and then we're Sandy, and we fly around for 3 hits, and then we're SpongeBob, and we have to be on the conveyors for 3 hits. So phase 1's not that tough. I mean, you literally just bowl him if you don't miss him like I did.
The robot better change tactics and fast.
Here we go. Try and spit at us. That's the only hit that can hit us, by the way, is the spit. This stuff it never hits you. I think I've been hit maybe once of like, what's that? 3,000 tries, 4,000 tries. Skip the cutscene. We're gonna go back and forth between these lassos until he stops spinning. And then we're gonna go and hit him. And then we're gonna take damage because there's a vomit cycle thing you have to be aware of. Which just you take damage and he goes through the animations and it saves time. If you don't take damage, then he basically just circles the whole area.
That hot goo could melt anything.
Okay, so it's almost done. Good time to explain cruise boosting and what late game is, the part you've probably heard about of this game. You can press the cruise bubble and the bubble ball on the same frame, and basically they cancel out each other and you get a lot of speed. There's a lot of extra stuff with it. It's harder to control than regular SpongeBob, but that's the basics. You get a bunch of speed. We abuse that in many ways. Because you basically had double the movement speed. I'm gonna get that so I don't die. So we wait a second here. You could skip a vomit cycle. Usually the visual cue is just him falling into the goo. When he hits the goo, that's when we can skip that. And we want to get into this little corner. You can see these conveyors are kind of split in half. And if we split on the line right where it's split in half, or if we sit there, then we can just have him manip to be where we want him to be. It's not 100% consistent, but it is enough to say that like he's not going to land in the back. He's going to land in a spot that's good enough. He can either land on the opposite side, or he can land in the front here on the non-moving platform. I almost took damage there, that was kind of scary. But he's going to land in the front right here, and bowl him again. And go over here. We have to avoid all of his attacks also. You can lose some time by having to take damage. So we just waited out. You can usually tell where he's gonna land. Like in this one, he's probably gonna land right here. Yep. So we're done with Industrial Park. We have the cruise bubble. Now we get to go into Murmelair. In this area, we just like cruise boost around everything. You're gonna see there's something called ballroom clip. Basically, you do a cruise boost while moving the stick in a certain direction, and you get to clip through a wall. So that's a cruise boost, the little thing with like the cruise bubble. There's two versions, an RCB, which is a reverse cruise boost, and a regular one. RCB save 1 second, but their inputs are a little bit different in where you have to point the control stick. And cruise boosts are just like where you see two cruise missiles. You'll see a mix of them throughout the run.
The Murmelair.
Okay, so in this area, there's something called a lag bash. So basically, when we bash, we can point the camera up, and that creates lag, and allows us to clear this area coming up. Just like that. And we can do 2 bashes and get over here. That skips this whole entire area. And then we can go to prawn. This is prawn skip. Basically, there's a trigger right above where we spawn, out of bounds. And we want to try and hit that. And if we hit that, then that means that we beat the boss, basically. Without having to even see him, without having to fight him, without anything. So there we go, we got the spat. You can see in the back he's frozen, so he's beat. Now we're going to go on to security tunnel. It's a basic movement area. But first we have to get a button. We have to get 4 of these buttons. And then that means that we get a free spat at the end. On to security tunnel. This is a very basic section. We're just gonna like climb up the area. You can do this in mid-game. Without cruise boosting it, it's not as bad. So get the spat. Nice and easy. Sometimes that cowboy ARF bot can get in the way and it can be really annoying, but he didn't this time, so. Ballroom clip now. That RCB is kind of annoying. I just missed it a lot. It's whatever. So, Mr. Krabs is here. We can bowl the button. Come in here. I got a second try. I mean, I don't know how that's going to happen in like a marathon run, but second try right there. Hit the 4th button. Come on, get a cruise boost. And we can overlap animations, which I just missed the overlap, just barely. But I can come back and grab it. Which, very nice save. That never happens if I go like too far right. But we're done with this area. On to Sand Mountain. So this is like another lag bash type thing. it's a little more lenient. You see I don't have to turn the camera. And then we're going to go to LSS. Probably the most difficult trick in the run. Just because, like, if you miss it, you lose a lot of time. But there's a very specific setup in this little ledge coming up. And if we do a cruise boost input, then we basically can just, like, clip through and have a lot of speed. So I got it first try, so I'm gaming. Let's go. Now we're gonna land on the slide down here, and we're gonna clear the slide, and then we can cruise boost and bash over the wall. So we don't have to defeat any of the Duplicatotron or deal with any of the robots here. Very nice segment. We get that spat, we talk to Larry, he's gonna have a spat. Then we go downtown. Okay, so now we want to get 6 wheels here. We're going to be going to rooftops and doing some intense platforming. But we want to get 6 wheels in this area. That's going to be for something called CCA we're going to do. Basically, we can abuse the system and trick the game into thinking we got 6 art and 6 campers in Rock Bottom and Kelp Forest, and we get free spats for it. But we have to do some platforming and get 6 wheels. That's the very first thing we do. So rooftops is more difficult than what you just saw there. There's a really annoying jump at the end of rooftops, but we're just gonna be like going through it. And we need to get another cruise boost. You see, this game's like very cruise boost heavy. All right, fine. So we get this spat, and then we have to go all the way through the rooftops. It's kind of a big segment. Like when you look at this, there's more advanced routes that do this in early game without cruise boosting, but those routes are kind of more tough. That's why I choose to do this route. A lot of people hate doing this. I don't mind it because I'm like pretty consistent, but there's a lot of people I know that don't like this route because of this. But we get the bash. Now we just have to get to the end of this. Very nice. And boom. Okay, Rock Bottom. This is where we abuse CCA. Yo, what's good? So you can see, like, we didn't get any art, and that spats for collecting 6 art, so. Okay, another cruise boost. Now we just have to go over here and get on top of the hills here. If you don't get a fast enough cruise boost, this is kind of a tough section, but for more advanced players, it's not that bad. You can see we get up here. We don't need to collect the art, it just kind of gets collected because it's in the way. It doesn't lose any time to collect it though. Get this spat. This next thing we're gonna do, the easiest way to explain it is just you bash to a certain point and you get a jump back. And then because we get the jump back, we can basically just get up here. Usually you have to get up here as Sandy. That's like the casual way of doing it. Now we're on to Museum. Another platforming section. You have to get a first try cruise boost usually if you want to like actually get anywhere. So I'm resetting the level. I almost got the down clip. There's like a down clip you can get there. But we want to clip through on this tire, and then we want to go and collect the spat and collect the sock. That will be available to us.
You've just met the Sponginator.
You have to spin to get downwards momentum cleared. I did that, but sometimes it just, if you try and bash too late, then it's bad. Here we go. Now we're gonna come up here, and we're gonna immediately warp up and go to Kelp Forest. So in Kelp Forest, there's just a bunch of cruise boosting sections. We do this area backwards. So you're supposed to have to do the Mermaid Man slide last, but because we have cruise boosting, we can do this just the way we're doing it here. But on the way to doing that, we want to talk to Mrs. Puff. That's going to unlock the warp for doing CCA to get the camper's spat. Come back. Up we go. As Lulu would say in League of Legends, up we go. So we want to get another cruise boost here. Don't ask me why this isn't working. Sometimes they're just bad. I almost failed that, but basically we can come down here. Since we got to the end, clear the timer, go back up here, talk to Mermaid Man, get our spat that we get for free for beating the slide. Or for beating his time challenge, I should say. Now we're going to go into caves, and there's a spat at the very end of the caves. And then we re-warp to the spat, and Barnacle Boy is going to be there. So we just talk to him really quick, and then we leave.
Hey.
Okay, now we get to hit this button. We're in Kelp Swamps now. This area is very easy to understand. Hit the button, and you get 2 spats. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do CCA after this. So we warp to downtown to get the collectible counter, and then we re-warp to Kelp Forest to the Puff Spat, and that's where we get to trick the game into thinking we have 6 campers. Okay, warp up, then immediately warp down. Okay, there we go. We're just gonna go over here. You can't fall off. It's impossible. You can't have a really weird camera like I just had. That was really awkward. It's fine. Now we come over here. And we're on to Dream. So we left 2 spats in Dream for late game. The first one is the spat that's right above us. So we're gonna get a cruise boost, and we're just gonna come up here and bash into the spat. And the other one's Squid's Dream. There's a very specific sock cycle we go for. We want to get a cruise boost fairly quick. If you don't get it within like the time that I got it there, then that's too late. And you can end up like not getting this off and dying. You can see I got sock cycle. Now we fly over here and beat the level. Now we're on to Graveyard. Alright, so in Graveyard, we're basically just going to be doing a bunch of platforming. So we get a cruise boost. We get the sock from the dumpster, which Fortnite belongs there, so we just grab Fortnite and Genshin Impact from the dumpster. Because they're trash games.
The graveyard.
And then we get a cruise boost off this pole. That pole is like kind of difficult to get a cruise boost off of, so sometimes like it can take a few tries. Then basically we slam, get the last sock in the run, and then we get to lower the goo here. Alright, so we lowered the goo. Now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna get to the end of the level after getting this spat. The fastest way to do this is to actually bounce on the trampoline to the ship right behind us. The one that we just got the goo from. I almost didn't make that. In fact, I didn't, so we're gonna do rock skip. This is like a backup. So we can come up here with the rocks. I just didn't turn enough. That's what happened there, by the way. Kind of crazy that I caught that again, just like I caught that one backup earlier. And Merm. That I've never gotten before. And we're gonna be in shipwreck. We just walk to the spat. Because the hand is disabled, nothing's grabbing us. Now we're gonna go on to boat bash. We bash on the side of the ship, and we can basically get to the top of the ship. Usually you have to do wall jumps to get to the top of the ship, but because we have cruise boosting, you know we don't have to do that, so. It's one of my favorite segments in the run, by the way. That's like one of the best looking segments there is. Now we're on to cannons. This section's just annoying more than anything. There's this Chuck that you have to avoid. He's only really a problem right there. And then you just have to do some like intense platforming. Which I got the cool bash there. If you don't get that, then you have to climb all of the moving platforms, not just a few of them. But yeah, we got all 4 cannons. Now we're going to collect the spat. There's a trampoline that's going to appear, and we're going to get one on top of the ship. And then there's one right here that we're going to come back and get later, because we want to hit the button that's inside that chest that just appeared. Okay. Now we're going to come back up here. This chest that we're about to run into, there's a button. We want to hit that button. That's important. And then that allows us to go to the Dutchman fight. And we're going to do something called Dutchman skip. So basically, like, all the major bosses, or all like the minor bosses can be skipped. King Jelly is like a joke in this game. Prawn, you saw what we did. And then the Dutchman, we can just do this. Climb up here. And yeah, so basically we just have to get to the trigger, which, again, right above us and from right where we spawned. Now we're going to do Goo Cage Bash. Basically in this, you have to bowl and bash on top of the bowl on top of the cage. It was really a surprise. Like, this trick was found about 2 years ago. I kind of didn't do it fast enough. I got a bad bowl or something, which is fine. Alright, now we're on to trading with Patrick and the final boss. We have to go and give a spat to Patrick. And then we're on to the final boss. we're gonna abuse the system that gives us a bunch of vertical momentum, and we're gonna fly into the air. Yes, I'm a speedrunner. Alright, so we're gonna have to take 2 hits, then hit Plankton, which my cruise bubble just went through him that time. Unfortunate. But now Bob's gonna try and chop us. I didn't do that fast enough. I kind of wasn't really ready for it. Shift is who got me into this game.
I guess SpongeBob won't be winning that way.
Back in like late 2020 or mid 2020. I don't know what's going on here, but we're just not hitting the bot right now. Nice.
Will SpongeBob be able to neutralize the giant robot plane?
Okay, so now this is just like a cruise boosting section. Usually, if you play this game, then what happens? Usually when you play this game, you have to get a bunch of you have to fight a bunch of robots. We completely skipped that in this area. I unfortunately missed a trampoline jump the first time and had to reload, but we can like clip into the brain. If the game will let me clip into the brain, that would be amazing. Why can't I clip in? Dude, why can't I clip in? Okay, there we go. We're gonna clip in. Usually you get to like cruise bubble through these tunnels, but we don't have to do that. I lost a bunch of time because of what happened at the beginning and because it wouldn't let me clip in, but it's fine. And yeah, so we get 5140. That's Battle for Bikini Bottom any percent. I'm estimating that it's going to take an hour because technically it could take like 55, 57 minutes if a bad run happens. But yeah, so you have a good rest of your day. And yeah, this was my lessons-a-thon submission.